Tonight we are under a dense fog advisory. It's in effect until 10 p.m. tonight, but more heavy fog could be on the way. The snow has stopped falling, but it's not going away, folks. It's very deceiving here. Thousands are headed to the airport right now, and now we're going to take a look at lines today at O'Hare International Airport. The residents here say that this water is not receding. It's coming. They're getting more and more, hour by hour, and there's no word on when anything will finally recede because more rainfall is expected in the forecast for at least the next week. Welcome back. Tonight kicks off the Champaign County Fair. Fox Champaign's Doug Quick joins us live from the fairgrounds. I need funnel cake, Doug. What can everyone else expect this year? Denton, Texas police are on high alert after two churches received two bomb threats in 2 days. Authorities say anonymous letters sent to two churches urged them to stop Christmas Eve services or else they would be bombed. That's right, and it just started at around 6 p.m. It is a protest where folks are rallying together and walking down the street right now. You can hear them right in front of me, right in front of the Champaign Police Department, and they are coming together with one message. Joining us now is Patricia Avery with the NAACP Champaign County. And Patricia, tell us, what is the message? Winter weather is heading towards East Central Illinois tonight, bringing along frigid air and the chance for the first snow of our season. Fox Champaign's Doug Quick has been tracking the system. Doug, how much snow are we expecting now? During some of this intense training, they will have to rescue victims inside of these buildings that are set on fire. This one is pretty heavy. I can't pick it up. 185 pounds is the approximate weight. Now imagine doing that in a burning building with smoke everywhere and you can barely see. This is what you call a frame full of honeybees. There are typically 10 in each box. And of course, as you can see, it is full of bees ready to produce their honey. Welcome back. You know, Doug said a bad word earlier. You said snow.
Snow, yeah.
Attackers stormed a hotel in the African country of Mali today, initially taking about 170 people hostage. Breaking news this morning, 2 arrests have been made in the Vicente Mundo case. State's Attorney Julia Reitz confirms Reginald Scott and Daniel Gonzalez, you see them there on your screen, have both been arrested in connection with the death of Vicente Mundo. Wishing, fingers crossed, 7 days with no rain and sunshine only.
When do you think that's going to happen? Not in the foreseeable future, most certainly.
I just declared. Secretary of State John Kerry is in Moscow, where he's meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the conflict in Syria. Earlier, Kerry met with the foreign minister. Washington wants the Kremlin to help push for peace. No goal or idea can be met without a good plan. The University of Illinois Willard Airport and the Airport Advisory Board are on a mission to make the airport the go-to place for passengers coming and going through Central Illinois. But one thing has been missing: a new executive director. Today was day one for Gene Causey. Now, the great Christmas tree debate. Fake versus real, which option is better for the environment? So when you open the shiny new gift, what should you do? Because this might be the first time you get this close to a big fella like this, a flathead catfish. Every time there's any kind of a holiday that happens, the pressure is on for our weatherman meteorologist to say, is it going to snow? Is it going to rain? Good weather? The pressure's all on him right now.
Yeah.
Thursday night, we told you about documents that were released by the city of Champaign that included several internal investigations, citizen complaints, and pending litigation involving Officer Matt Rush. This officer was fired, then after arbitration, allowed back to work. Now a second lawsuit involving Rush could be settled as soon as next week for $225,000. That is tonight's top story. What you're about to see is dash cam video from a Champaign police patrol car when Benjamin Mann was arrested on March 16, 2014. Mann later filed a lawsuit against the city, Officer Matt Rush, and 6 other officers. Mann alleges that while arrested, a Champaign police officer used excessive force against him and that other police officers did not act to prevent such use of force. The city and officers disputed the allegations. Since then, both parties have agreed to settle the lawsuit. Now, Champaign City Council will have to accept the proposed settlement for $225,000.
The case has been going on for a bit of time, so there's been discovery done and other processes that have happened in the case. As with all cases that are filed, we explore whether there's an opportunity to settle it on terms that we think are reasonable.
The proposed settlement would release all claims against the city and police, but does not admit to any liability in the disputed claim. Meanwhile, the third lawsuit that involves Officer Rush is still in litigation. We reached out to the Illinois Fraternal Order of Police Labor Council. Here's a part of what David Wister, executive director for the organization, said about Officer Rush. Quote, Officer Rush had the legal right to have his case reviewed by an independent arbitrator who heard all of the evidence and made a ruling that was accepted by both parties. Officer Rush served his suspension and has not had a complaint against him since returning to work in the spring. We should all move forward and allow Officer Rush to continue serving the public in a job that he loves, end quote. Sick, disgusted, and angry are the feelings of some community and church leaders. Meanwhile, tonight, after seeing dash cam video of Champaign police officer Matt Rush in at least one of 3 videos linked to complaints that have lawsuits against him, and in some cases others. Patricia Avery with the Champaign County NAACP and community leader Sundiata Kaita Choja, with the support of others, said that based on the complaints against Officer Matt Rush, that the community, they want him to resign. They're also asking State's Attorney Julia Reitz to charge Rush with assault and battery and arrest him immediately because no community is safe.
The community is not safe, not just the black community. The white community, any community, he should not be on the streets as an officer of the law.
So people are on pins and needles that if he continues to serve, that it could end badly for one of our citizens, that it could be fatal. And that is why we are calling upon him to do the moral and the right thing by resigning, because once you lose the public's trust, it is very difficult, I think, in order for you to uphold your duties.
The group says they plan to release a more comprehensive report from the community to City Council at a later time, and they want a civilian review board to be created. It has been 14 years and 1 month since 59-year-old Linda Smith was found dead in her home. But the Champaign County Sheriff's Office and investigators say they know someone killed her, and they won't stop searching until they find her murderer. Police describe Linda Smith as a loving and kind woman.
She was a good person. She was very committed. She was committed to her grandchildren, to her family, to her daughters.
But on September 22nd, 2001, she was found murdered in her Champaign home at 302 Paul Street. Around 5:49 a.m., a neighbor saw her house on fire. When crews arrived, they put the fire out and found Linda dead.
She was in a position that was unusual. It caused investigators to be suspicious.
Police say Linda had been raped and died of a heart attack during the assault. Police believe someone set her body on fire to cover up evidence. But Linda's killer failed. Police found DNA from Linda's murderer. It was linked to 2 other rapes. One in 1995 in Montgomery County, Maryland, and another case in 2001 in Carbondale, Illinois, almost a month before Linda's murder. There was one other piece of evidence. A witness said he saw a man he had never seen before in Linda's neighborhood, 1 block from Linda's home, around the time of the crime. This is the composite sketch made by police. Though broad, police say each case describes the same rapist.
The suspect was described as a black male, his mid-20s, 5'7" to 6 foot tall, approximately 150 to 180 pounds, and a medium build.
Police say they are not giving up until they find Linda's killer.
Even if you think it's a little thing, a little piece of the puzzle, you know, we still need that piece of the puzzle. Any tips or any information that the public may have, we'll need.
Now, you might remember Linda Smith. She worked at a local Kmart that has since closed. Her home was torn down after the fire. Neighbors told me off camera that Linda was a kind person who would have helped anyone. If you have any information about Linda Smith's death, contact Crime Stoppers at 373-TIPS. This week, federal education authorities determined an Illinois school district violated anti-discrimination laws when it did not allow a transgender student who identifies as a girl and participates on a girls' sports team to change and shower in the girls' locker room without restriction. But right here in Central Illinois, one transgender student is finding acceptance in his community. 10 years ago, Micah and Sarah's family began to grow with their first child, a baby girl named Naima. Then they had a boy named Asher. They noticed their daughter, Naima, made choices that as parents they initially didn't understand.
There were times when I would hold up a dress and be like, are you sure you don't want to wear this? Why not? And it was, for me, it was sort of hard to understand why.
Naima liked wearing boy clothes and was often mistaken for a boy. 3 years ago, Sarah asked an important question.
When I said, do you want me to correct people when they are calling you a boy? And immediately the response was, I don't want you to. I feel like a boy.
This was one of many steps in Naima's journey to being Daniel, a 7-year-old boy. Sarah and Micah would find acceptance and guidance from family, friends, and here at the Up Center, a safe haven and support center for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community. But Daniel, a shy boy, still had to tell his school and classmates.
He went to the head of the school and said, I feel like a boy and I want to be called Daniel. And the response, we could not have asked for anything better. It was, okay, well, we'll call you Daniel.
Daniel would be accepted and safe at school.
And so I started crying instantly because I was, it's your child and you want your child just to be loved and accepted by the world, and you don't know how the world's going to treat your child.
Stephanie Harmon works at Daniel's school.
Countryside's philosophy is to treat children with dignity and respect, period. And we value the uniqueness of each child.
Acceptance has not been the reality for so many other transgender kids.
Well, we're very fully aware of the struggles that go on every day and the lack of acceptance or just the hatefulness that occurs.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that negative attitudes towards LBG people put these youth at increased risk for experiences with violence compared to other students. Now at the age of 10, Daniel has had his name legally changed before a judge, and he takes medication to suppress female puberty. Micah and Sarah support other families through outreach. But as parents, they hope their children can simply enjoy being kids. It's important to note Daniel, their oldest son, asked his parents to share his story for him on his behalf. Daniel's parents also told us that as far as the future, so far, he wants to be a civil rights attorney. Now, for over 30 days, residents in and around Watseka have been dealing with flooding as bodies of water overflow from the Iroquois River and Sugar Creek into their homes. For one family, the nightmare started 2 weeks ago, and it has not ended.
Basically, just salvage what we can, what's left of the house and our possessions, and we have to find another place.
This family has lost everything to flooding. All they have are pictures on a phone.
This is all we have left is our furniture. It's gone.
There's just things floating everywhere.
This is their neighborhood. Now it looks more like a lake. Sharon and over a dozen other families will live here at Trinity Church and get help from the Red Cross. In other neighborhoods, more of the same. I'm standing in the middle of Walnut Street. This is about 6 inches of water, and this water is coming from the flooding, of course, but the residents here say that this water is not receding. It's coming. They're getting more and more, hour by hour, and there's no word on when anything will finally recede because more rainfall is expected in the forecast for at least the next week.
Flooding started a handful of weeks ago. As everybody knows, throughout the month of June, Illinois was just inundated with rain, especially Iroquois County. We've seen a lot of rain, especially on the northern portions.
The water is coming from the Iroquois River and Sugar Creek and overflowing into the low-lying areas of Watseka.
Also, flooding in creeks and rivers makes it hard for towns to drain. Tiles get filled up with water, and then water has nowhere to drain. So we've had some of those problems.
Some residents say it hasn't been this bad since 2008. And despite more rain in the forecast, some are optimistic.
I don't know, life's always a series of unfortunate events, but I mean, you just got to have faith. God's good no matter what, You can get mad and throw a fit if you want to, but it ain't going to change anything, So you just sit and smile with what you got to smile about.
Residents have a curfew from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Folks, if you know someone in the area that needs assistance, contact the Red Cross or Trinity Church at 815-432-4070. Today, we get a close look buzzing around, looking at what's done with Russian and Italian bees. This is one job you might pass on, harvesting honey.
When a bee goes out, they're either collecting pollen or they're collecting nectar.
Meet Rachel Coventry. She harvests honey for her family business, and today she's showing us how she does it. First, she starts with a small fire in a canister.
You want a nice, cool smoke, and you can feel it's really cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And this is all to create smoke.
Just create smoke, which helps to mask the pheromones that the bees give off when they're frightened.
Now we suit up, covered top to bottom in a white suit, gloves, and of course a hat covered in net. We begin after spreading smoke around the hive to keep the bees calm.
Then we're going to pop the lid open. Usually we just want to put it right in here.
Okay. Inside, hundreds of thousands of bees, among them workers, all females, drones, all males, and the queen bee. And on the honeycomb, look closely. This is capped honey. That's what you and I eat. And then there's broods. This is where the larva grows to become new bees.
After I get the bees off of it, I take the whole box and I take it back into the shop where we have a centrifuge.
Then it ends up here.
On the edge like that.
Okay.
And then you'll close it and you'll turn it on and it just spins. It collects in the bottom and then you have a tap down here. And then we have a strainer that we strain it through. Then we bottle it. That's the last step.
All of this to get your honey in a tiny bottle.